Despite the regional challenges and threats to a God-given resources by a supposedly friendly country, Egypt continues on its path of development. As stated by the head of state on Wednesday during the inauguration of the integrated complex for secure and smart documents in the new capital, power is not only military might, but also economic, cultural, intellectual, and moral power. Ingredients that make up a nation's integrated power. That's why we witness such inaugurations. Let's take a look at some of the week's events. On the 1st of April, Egypt's Gipto Pharma City, the largest pharmaceutical city in the Middle East, was launched. That was on the 1st of April. April 3rd, in a dazzling world event, mummies of ancient Egyptian kings and queens were marched in a golden parade to their new resting place in the Egyptian Civilization Museum in El Fustat, one of our old capitals. On the sidelines of this majestic parade, the first archaeological replicas factory to counter cheap knockoffs was opened as well. On April 6th, Egypt's Future project, located in the new delta and extending to the western desert, was inaugurated. This phase alone cultivates 500,000 acres to provide high-quality agricultural products by using treated water. And on the 7th of April, today, the President inaugurated the Secure and Smart Documents Complex. This is by far the biggest in the Middle East and Africa, and is to issue all government and secure documents via a unified central system to boost digital transformation and to combat all forms of corruption. What does this tell us? Development is the right of every country, yet depriving a people of their God-given resources was and will never be accepted by the people of this land and by those entrusted with their livelihood. Good evening. You're watching the Business Insider on Nile TV International, and I'm Ayman Salah. Welcome back. Our weekly program, as you know, tackles events affecting economies and business, and we aim to bring you the inside story as how we're starting every week with the first news item here. The innovative higher education platform made its trading debut on the stock exchange on Wednesday. This ends a long period without IPOs on the Egyptian stock exchange. Shares were met with strong appetite from global institutional investors, local firms, and retail investors. This is the first real IPO on the exchange since December 2019. There is an IPO pipeline in the making, and the EGX chief said that as many as 6 listings could take place in 2021, opening the way for institutional investors to make their mark on the market. The second news item we have for you this week is that the IMF upgraded Egypt's growth projections for the fiscal year 2021-2022 by 0.2 percentage points to 5.7%, up from its 5.5% growth it forecast in January. The IMF announced that it expects the global economy to grow this year at a faster pace than previously expected. In its updated World Economic Outlook, it now expects global growth to come in at 6%. That is half a percentage point higher than the 5.5% growth it had noted 3 months ago. Meanwhile, Egypt's current account deficit is expected to widen to 4% by the end of the current fiscal year, from 3.1% in 2019-2020, before narrowing again to 2.5% in 2025-2026. The report also sees inflation accelerating to 6.3% in 2021 and 7.3% 4% in 2022, up from 5.7% last year. We'll be back with more on development projects. Stay with the Business Insider. Welcome back. Development projects, as was mentioned, have been the norm in this country for the past years. This week alone, we've witnessed openings of new projects, launches of new projects, inaugurations of new projects, as well as a great parade and great organization of a parade that attracted the world's attention. That was the Golden Mummies parade. Let's watch this report and then start our discussion.
It was a week full of pomp and achievements. Nearly 24 royal mummies were paraded down the streets of Cairo on Saturday in the Pharaoh's Golden Parade to celebrate their big move from the city's Egyptian Museum to the new National Museum of Egyptian Civilization in the Fustat neighborhood. In an unrivaled, once-in-a-lifetime event, the Pharaoh's Golden Parade featured 22 royal mummies in a majestic procession. The mummies, which included Ramses II and Hatshepsut, were kept in climate-controlled cases during the hour-long journey alongside the Nile. Most of them were from the New Kingdom, which ruled Egypt between 1539 BC to 1075 BC. They were originally buried around 3,000 years ago in the Valley of the Kings and the Deir el-Bahariya site near Luxor. The gala parade featured 60 motorcycles, 150 horses, and a 21-gun salute in an extravagant ceremony that ended with the president personally welcoming the mummies to their new resting place at the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization. Earlier on Thursday, Egypt's medicine city, or Gypto Pharma in El Khanqa, was inaugurated, aiming to become a regional hub that attracts major international companies in the field of pharmaceutical and vaccine industries. It is one of the largest medicine sites in the Middle East, equipped with the latest technology and global systems in pharmaceutical production. This mega project will provide citizens with high-quality medicine at affordable prices. The health sector is also set to domestically manufacture plasma derivatives as well as locally growing and manufacturing raw materials regardless of the cost and benefits. Factories in the city will produce highest quality medicines for domestic and international consumption. While on the 6th of April, an inspection of Egypt's future project was carried out in the Western Desert during the harvest season by the president. This project adds to the cultivated area and secures food security, as well as provides hundreds of thousands of job opportunities. This project falls in line with the mega national project, the New Delta, so as to cultivate 1 million fiddans along the new Road al-Farag Daba axis near Sphinx International Airport, Burj Al Arab International Airport, Al Dakhila Port and Alexandria's port. It's strategically located to facilitate product delivery and make the project an attractive destination for investors that contributes to the development of the northwestern coast region, to the establishment of new agricultural and urban communities benefiting from the international standard administrative systems, agro-industrial complexes based on full-fledged agricultural production systems. Egypt's future project also aims to bridge the agricultural gap at the local level to provide high-quality agricultural products at reasonable prices to citizens and export the surplus overseas through the cultivation of 500,000 fiddans. The project relies on recycled water resources for agricultural wastewater treatment plants that have been established. And then on Wednesday, the 7th of April, the President inaugurates the Smart and Secure Documents Complex. This is the largest and most up-to-date in the Middle East and Africa and supports the nation's strategy for digital transformation and automation for all the documents and data across government agencies. Authenticated documents will be issued through a unified central system at the national level, ensuring that all state documents are in accordance with the latest international security standards. Development and cooperation have been the main highlights of the new era post-2014, and the majestic scene of the Golden Parade, as well as the jaw-dropping achievements in many sectors, are inspired by the heritage of the great ancestors, those who have perceived the homeland and created a civilization for all humankind.
All right, so development is the name of the game. But let's start with the first item that was mentioned in this report, and that revolves around the Pharaoh's Golden Parade, the magnanimous event that was seen by many around the world. We have with us on the line Mr. Tarek Sarhan. He is the treasurer of the Tourist Guide Syndicate Fund. A pleasure to have you with us, Mr. Sarhan. Let's start with the Golden Parade, and just to highlight an issue here is that this parade has set a benchmark for future events related to this country's heritage. Would you agree?
Good evening.
Good evening.
At first, if I want to say something, this is the first scene of the Second Republic of Egypt.
The first theme of the Second Republic of Egypt. All right.
As we see, the whole world now is under quarantine because of COVID-19. Meanwhile, Egypt is making a parade like this. It was like a symphony. Not only the orchestra who played the music, but those who shared the whole operation, from the mummies, preserving, and the cars, and the dresses, and everything you might imagine. It was really, I consider this the first scene of the Second Republic of Egypt. And I'm proud. Not only me, all the Egyptians at the day were proud to say that I'm proud to be Egyptian.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
Impact of this, of course, this is very important because now the importance of tourism to the Egyptian economy, at least, it's 13% from the economy. Right? And the whole world now is under closure because of COVID-19. We started to make more awareness to the whole world that Egypt is safe. You can walk in the streets, and having a parade like this, open new museums, and developing everything in the country, right? Of course, this will help the tourism industry.
Right, and if people would come and see us in the streets after 12 midnight here in this country, safety is not an issue to be considered when visiting this country. I would say, come and see us in action. But the issue is, when you look at the parade, as I said, it sets a new benchmark.
Exactly.
And here I'm referring also to the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum, the gem, if you will.
Yes. Imagine this is the Namek Museum, what we opened a few days ago, the Civilization Museum. Could you imagine what will happen for the gem, the biggest ever all over the world museum?
Right.
What kind of ceremony will be done at that time?
Right.
This is another good message to the world, and of course it will have a deep impact on the tourism industry. When you are giving more choices to the people, instead of one museum, you will see the biggest all over the world. You will see the mummies in a better way of expecting the mummy, because in Cairo Museum, we used to say as tour guides that this is the mummy room. Now we will say the mummy hall, right, which contains everything about each of the royal, the kings and the queens, right, and the history.
The leaders of this country.
Exactly. And those people, imagine that they are walking again after thousands of years on the same land they ruled 3,000 or 4,000 years ago. They are walking again. It's another resurrection for our civilization. And we need to get, of course, or at least Egypt will get the result of what happened in that parade from the economy-wise, the economical point of view. of course, this will have an impact on economy. Not now, but I think that from next September, that most of the people will prefer to visit Egypt, because now this is the clear.
Let's tackle this issue when you mentioned economy, because looking at the social media and having it the second most trended piece of images and news covered around the world, one would expect that the tourism industry will witness a new kind of tourist, if you will, the tourists with higher purchasing power, because one of the issues that was identified as a weakness, if you will, or a challenge, was the purchasing power of tourists arriving to this destination, to this country. Do you expect another kind of tourist with more purchasing power to be attracted to visit?
Yes, I agree 100% with you, because now even in the let me take the United States of America. They announced that the vaccination, the Americans will be vaccinated by September, next September, right? And those people, they are trapped now in their houses, not only the Americans, the Europeans and everyone. They are trapped, right? And they saw something like that royal parade. This is awareness for them. And we need to make more efforts, more and more. Not only that royal parade, we need to build over this. We need more logistics. We need a portal for Egypt, for the internet, right? We need to make, we have tourism, but we need to make tourism as an industry, to turn this world into an industry, tourism industry. Otherwise, you can't generate economy. We show the people now the soft power of Egypt through that royal parade, right? We show the people, this is Egypt, what we can do. In 1 week, as you mentioned, the crisis of Suez Canal, which trapped 10% from the world trade, and in 6 days, the Egyptians succeeded in moving that vessel in Suez Canal, right? It was practical example that they will allow the 400 ships trapped behind the waterway in few weeks, and the Egyptians again, they finished the issue within 4 days. Few days later, we saw the parade. This is the new country. This is something new about them. Of course, this will be understood by the media outside. Is it enough to tell you that a journalist from Melbourne, Australia, wrote something that Hollywood City should feel shame of this, what happened in Egypt, that cinematic production, that great cinematic production? Imagine the director and the maestro and everyone who shared that word. This is New Egypt, and of course we'll have an impact.
All right. Let me share with you a message I received from a friend, an old friend, who's a top diplomat in Geneva. And while we were watching the Grand Parade, the Pharaoh's Golden Parade, he said, and I'm quoting here, "Thank you to your beautiful country for making such a great gift to the world with such a magnificent parade. Mm-hmm. The world is in great need of cultural bonding. Magnificent Egypt." That's the message that was sent to me verbatim.
Then do we need to tell something more than this, what you said now? This is excellent to hear. That this is a message of hope to the whole world, not only to the Egyptian people. No, it's a message of hope that people are trapped in houses. And now Egypt is giving them a message that we are a safe country. We are giving gifts day after day in the trade and in the heritage and everything. This is a very good message too.
You said tourism contributes 13% to this country's GDP.
Yes.
Second biggest contributor, basically,
exactly.
to the GDP. What do we need to do in terms of other than such a parade, in terms of incentives, in terms of regulations, in order to attract more tourism to this country?
In fact, we need at first more logistics in this industry. For example, we heard about the train from New Alamein City to Al Sukna, also to Suez Canal, right? You agree with me that this will help the tourism industry, right? And another train to cut the distance between Alexandria and Aswan in 4 hours. And this will be achieved within 4 or 5 years.
One is an upgrade in logistics. Two.
Yes, yes. The internet and making an easy transaction for those who want to visit Egypt, because now most of the people who are making tourism all over the world, young ages, and those people, they are using mobile applications. We need to make this secure and easy for them. Otherwise, they can find the country easy to visit, right? The internet, as I said in the beginning, we need an official portal which will contain everything related to this industry in Egypt. Otherwise, you can find the information you need to visit the country.
A marketing tool, if you
market research, of course, as well. This is another very important thing. Mm-hmm.
Other incentives you see?
Giving new programs, because we always used to do the classic program from Cairo to Aswan. No, now we have another treasures in Egypt. Besides the museum, we have another 2 or 3 paradises. One of them, the New Alamein City, which will contain, I think, in my opinion, this is enough. The New Alamein City, this is more than enough to change the map of the world tourism, because it's very near to Europe. The big market for us, 8 million visitors, and this is 1 hour travel by plane. And instead of traveling to Maldives in 10 hours, they will travel to Egypt in 1 hour. And
since you mentioned planes, what about air transport links?
Why not we make another national project like what we collected 64 billion Egyptian pounds in 1 week for the second Suez Canal. Do you remember?
Yes.
Right? What if we...
At the time, that was the equivalent of $9 billion, while we were asking for $2 billion, I believe, from the World Bank, and we had difficulty getting them.
Why not giving the Egyptians the chance to put there, and instead of putting the money into the bank with low rates, but giving another project, buying like 50 flights, and instead of depending on other nations for the charter flights? Why not having our backward integration? This is very important, because the flight is a very important issue. 30 to 40% from the whole quotation. Then this will go outside or inside. If you are having our backward integration, then we are getting this 40% from the tickets will be inside the country. Why not? We suggest a project like this to be shared by the Egyptians, like what happened in Suez Canal, the second Suez Canal, right? This is about the planes, the internet. We need thousands of people to make this official portal site, website, right? Otherwise, the people will work and the internet to give the information needed for those who want to visit the country.
There was a criticism to the industry that it cannot organize itself to create a tourist operator entity, if you will, instead of relying on tour operators from other countries.
Yes, we need to knock door missions again to Europe, to States, to East Edge, right? We have new products like Alamein, like Marsa Alam, like the new museum, right? We need to show the people all these things, because they know only about the pyramid, Luxor, and Aswan, the classic program. We need to change this vision. This is very important, of course. Giving more facilities.
I'm talking about organizing, setting up a tour operator. Like TUI, like Thomas Cook, that used to be available, and we had to rely on them to get our tourists. No, our tourist companies need to organize themselves to create such an entity.
Exactly, I agree with you, because now they will sell what makes profit for them. They will look only for their benefits, right? But we need to make our...
Can we do that? Can we do that? And what is needed to do that?
We have... I don't know why we are delaying in this point, but it's easy. Just showing the people, making more documentary movies about the new paradise, the new places, the new museum, right? Let me suggest you something. And this month, on April 18th, His Excellency Minister Dr. Khaled Anani said that the Mummy Hall will be open for public, right? We need to make another movie, for example, a documentary movie that this is the new place for the mummy, right? And this is to make more attractions, let the people know about us.
Right.
Hello?
Thank you very much, Mr. Tarek Sarhan, Treasurer of the Tourist Guide Syndicate Fund. It was a pleasure having you with us. We'll be back.